Trump also went on Twitter earlier, and he insisted in a flurry of tweets that while he was never a fan of John McCain, he never called McCain a loser and approved his funeral without hesitation or complaint. CNN has not independently confirmed the reporting that The Atlantic has, but The Washington Post has, and an AP reporter who is a former Marine infantryman has as well. The problem for the president here is that his comments about the war dead and injured are not out of character, right? He's spoken ill of them before, and he even lied in that denial about his comments about John McCain specifically, because he did call McCain a loser. He did it twice, in a tweet and when he initially attacked him being a war hero.
I supported him. He lost. He let us down. But, you know, he lost. So I never liked him as much after that, because I don't like losers. But Frank, let me get to it. He hit me. He's not a war hero.
He's a war hero.
He's a war hero.
5.5 years.
He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay? I hate to tell you.
John McCain could have been released from captivity in Vietnam. He was the son and the grandson of highly decorated admirals, and that afforded him privilege. But he refused early release, and he stayed with his guys. Whatever his politics, whether you like him or not, he was a hero. And when he died, the president was criticized for waiting to lower flags in honor of McCain's death. It took 2 days and tremendous pressure on President Trump. And Trump was upset that he didn't get praise for approving McCain's funeral.
I gave him the kind of funeral that he wanted, which as president I had to approve. I don't care about this. I didn't get thank you. That's okay. We sent him on the way, but I wasn't a fan of John McCain.
It is not just John McCain, though, that the president has targeted. He has a history of attacking members of the military and their families. Around the time that he first laid into McCain, he also attacked a Gold Star family, the Khans, who were critical of him.
His wife, if you look at his wife, she was standing there. She had nothing to say. Maybe she wasn't allowed to have anything to say. You tell me.
She was too heartbroken. Kaiser and Ghazala Khan's son, Homayoun Khan, was killed by a suicide bomber in Iraq in 2004, and he was posthumously awarded a Purple Heart and a Bronze Star. Then more recently, the president smeared, he mocked, and he eventually forced Army Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vindman into early retirement. Vindman received the Purple Heart for his service in Iraq, and he still had shrapnel in his body from an IED attack when he was testifying on the president's Ukraine actions in the impeachment trial.
I don't know, as he says, Lieutenant Colonel, I understand somebody had the misfortune of calling him Mr., and he corrected them. I never saw the man. I understand now he wears his uniform when he goes in. No, I don't know Vindman at all. When you look at Vindman's, the person he reports to, said horrible things, avoided the chain of command, leaked, did a lot of bad things. And so we sent him on his way to a much different location, and the military can handle him any way they want.
Now, the president's condolence call to the widow of a Green Beret killed in Niger in 2017, that also caused a lot of controversy. When he spoke with LaDavid Johnson's widow, Maisha, she said that his tone made her cry and that the president seemed to be grasping for her husband's name.
The president said that he knew what he signed up for, but it hurts anyways. And it made me cry because I was very angry at the tone of his voice and how he said it. Like he couldn't remember my husband's name. If my husband is out here fighting for our country and he risks his life for our country, why can't you remember his name?
And this year, when Iran struck an Iraqi base where U.S. troops are housed, causing at least 34 American soldiers to sustain traumatic brain injuries, the president said this.
You said repeatedly to Americans that after Iran retaliated for the Soleimani strike, no Americans were injured. We now know at least 11 U.S. servicemen were airlifted from Iraq. Can you explain the discrepancy?
No, I heard that they had headaches and a couple of other things, but I would say, and I can report, it is not very serious.
So you don't consider potential traumatic brain injuries serious?
No, I don't consider them very serious injuries relative to other injuries that I've seen.
The president has also refused to condemn or even mention to Vladimir Putin the reported Russian bounties on the heads of U.S. troops in Afghanistan, instead dismissing it as fake news, saying the intelligence wasn't big enough to reach his desk, which is not true. He was briefed on it. He just ignored it. I know that some Americans are going to dismiss this Atlantic article as fake news, but they shouldn't. Jeffrey Goldberg is a well-sourced and serious, respected, meticulous reporter by all accounts except the president's. This report aside, the president has made his views on the military and their sacrifices incredibly clear. He doesn't get it. He doesn't get why people say, "Send me," or how much they love their country that they're willing to put it all on the line. I am a military spouse, and I don't know what it is to go to war. I don't know what it's like to risk it all. But like other military family members, I do have a view to it that a vast majority of Americans do not. And after this report came out last night, I was thinking about a story that my husband told me about one of his friends, a friend who he would alternate on patrols with, and who, to hear my husband tell it, was a total badass. They were in Afghanistan during a particularly hairy time in the war, and on this day, it was his friend who went out on the patrol, and he was killed. Because in war, it doesn't matter if you're squared away. Death is often random. The ones that we have lost aren't losers. They're ordinary people who did an extraordinary thing. They answered the call. And the ones who come back, they are survivors, and they are fighting for normal lives that many of us take for granted. They're dealing every day with scars that you can see and scars that you cannot see.